Hi everyone, it's Ade Babola Oluwadara, and I am so happy to be finally starting the NST Career Series. If you're yet to watch the intro on what this is about, I urge that you do that so that you can have a broad understanding of this. The video is intended for people who are trying to get into DevOps. And don't worry if you have not heard anything about DevOps, but your curiosity has made you click on this video. We will be breaking it down for you. I have someone here with me today because I'm not an expert in the field, as you can see, and we'll be introducing our guests as time goes on. What I want you to do is to sit back, get your notepad, and learn the world of DevOps. Thank you for coming to today's program, being the first guest. I am so happy to have you here, and I'm so honored that you are here.
Thank you very much. I am glad to be here as well. And I'm glad to let your viewers know what DevOps is about.
Thank you. My first big question for you is, how are you?
That's an interesting introduction. Yeah, I'm good. I am very well. Thank you. As you can see, I'm fine.
Okay. Do you want to just tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and what you do?
All right, thank you. My name is Opeyemi. I currently work as a build release engineer with Bitwarden. Bitwarden is a company that deals with password management, secret management for organizations, big organizations like NASA, SpaceX, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I do. What else?
I mean, that is enough, and I'm sure it is convincing to our audience that you are an expert in this field. The tech space is a big one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it is a big one that every segment might not understand what the other segment is about.
Yeah.
So could you please help me understand what DevOps is all about?
DevOps is what happens after a product, a typical product is done. Like the engineers that develop the product, they develop it on their laptop, yes. And what happens after you're done with all the features they ask you to do? DevOps is what happens. DevOps is taking that product from that person, that developer's or a lot of developers' laptop, and putting it in the hand of users.
Thank you very much. While you were speaking, you said DevOps is what happens after software development. So I would imagine software to be like WhatsApp, the app we use. You mentioned something like they put it out there. So are you just there to upload the app on behalf of the software developer once they're done developing? Or what exactly do you do that is different? Because I have developed the app, I have made it in tune with what the user wants. Then what is DevOps doing there again?
Thank you very much. In the process of me trying to very simplify what DevOps is, I think I kind of have oversimplified it.
Okay.
So for example now, a developer finished developing, a developer cannot develop WhatsApp.
Okay.
Thousands of developers finish developing a single app.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Now, can you imagine the amount of users that are using WhatsApp daily?
Millions
of people. Now, how does a developer that developed that product, how does he want to handle deploying an app like that for billions of people? First off, when developers finish developing a product, they will deploy it. Where are they deploying it to? So every website, every application, every software that you use, it lives somewhere. So where is that somewhere? It lives very remotely on a server somewhere.
Okay.
Right? So you need to, DevOps work involve understanding what it means to interact with servers, to interact with databases, to interact with every other component of things that hold those apps together.
Okay.
Right? Now, when events like Black Friday is coming, there are a lot of preparations that you need to do. For example, if I host my application, a single application, on a single server, I should know how many people can access, can use it while it's still on that server. Let's say it can handle just 100 people using that app concurrently. Only 100 people can use this app concurrently. Concurrently means at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So what if Black Friday now comes and I have 100,000 people for a server that can handle 100 people?
Yeah.
So how do we want to do it? So there needs to be preparations and tools, infrastructures, and knowledge and all those things that it takes to not make an application break.
Okay.
And what DevOps are very, very, very knowledgeable about. And there are also a lot of fields that are stemmed out of DevOps. For example, DevOps can be in charge of deploying the products. Another team can also be in charge of ensuring that this platform where we are developing our app does not break. There are also fields like SRE, Site Reliability Engineering, which means we want to ensure that our product, our infrastructure and everything is reliable, like nothing can break it.
You have made me understand it better as you go deeper. We are currently in a house. The software that we use, like WhatsApp, doesn't live on my phone, even though I'm using it. There is a place that holds it. There are computers that allows this application to be used by million and million of people, and you are one of those that enable us ensure that the applications built by the software developers can be used and it won't break. Because there are things where you hear, oh, Twitter is down. That is really popular. It's like, oh, Twitter is down, and I'm guessing once it's down, you don't necessarily call the people that built it, but the people that deployed it, which is, should I say, like, saved it?
They are managing it, the app.
Good. So DevOps are software managers. Can we put it that way?
We could say DevOps are, we could say they are the managers. Yeah, we could just literally call them that.
Yeah.
Because they're the one that manages. They're the one that manage the apps after it's been done. I mean, when a developer builds something, they feel like, oh,
that's it.
My call has ended here. Let me just, like, I'm done.
I can
relax. But the continuous management of that product lands in the hand of DevOps. And there are a lot of other things that I have not even mentioned. For example, like, so what happens when you finish? We just mentioned that when a developer finishes developing the product, they rest. No, they don't rest. They go back and develop new things.
Yeah.
On the same app. So you cannot say, oh, I've developed a version 1. I want to deploy. I want to now introduce version 2. Let me remove that version 1 and put in the version 2. It doesn't work like that.
Okay.
You've not seen Instagram say, oh, guys, wait, we want to give you guys a latest update. So wait, let's delete this one and give you another one which have latest updates.
Yeah. They
don't do that, right? What they do is that it's incremental.
Yeah.
So we had feature to it. So developers go back and add to it. So the engineers take that addition, and it's like a continuous. Yeah. So, and there's a word for it within DevOps ecosystem. It's called continuous integration. We continually integrate to these things. We continually add to it. But one thing is very critical in doing that. It is the experience that the users have. So we don't impact, even though we are adding to these things, we don't want to impact your user. We don't even want you to know that something is being added. You just kind of open the app and they're like, oh, it has these features.
Yeah, like I can send video notes.
Yeah. So we don't tell you that we want to do that. Your app just automatically updates and then it sees those features. So some of those things are also one of the things that and there's also the part where when you put an app somewhere, what if someone wants to go there and steal it? Right?
Okay.
So there's a part of security. There's a part where you are putting it somewhere, you're also safeguarding it.
Okay.
So all of those things, they are subtle, but they are very important. They're even closer to the business value chain than it is to the developer that is building the
Building
product.
okay, not to offend the developers.
No, not to offend any developers.
Listen.
But I'm just saying that imagine you've developed the app, but it's not secure.
It doesn't stop there. Yeah.
It's not secure. It's
Yeah.
like, what if it's not secure? What if someone goes there and steal your app and say, everybody come and see what this person is?
And I have the version on my computer, so as well I have the app. It totally makes sense. I'm just like putting it out there for people that might be interested in software, but they are not interested in building. They just enjoy. Some people just enjoy maintaining. Some people just don't. I don't want to come into this building and fit every part of it, but I want to ensure it keeps looking this good, and everything I am adding to it, this space can take it. So I'm saying, if that is what they are interested in, then DevOps is a career to consider.
Okay, that is a very is a very important question to ask. If you want to start your career as a DevOps engineer, it means you have to do more than someone that wants to start their career as a data analyst, as a software developer, as any other field, essentially, any other field within tech, essentially, right? Why? Because DevOps is what happens after. If you really want to be successful and know your craft in DevOps, you need to know what happens before these products are given to you. You might not be actively
involved or
involved.
knowledgeable.
Yeah, you want to be knowledgeable.
Okay.
But you might not be actively have experience actually writing code. But you want to ensure that if a developer gives you, so there's something we call that actually is an artifact. If a developer gives you an artifact or a code base, like go and deploy this thing.
Okay.
You want to know whatever you do with that code, you want to know why. You know, remember I told you that before there was DevOps, there was development, and then there was operations, right? Now they merged those two things, those two fields together to mean DevOps, right? It means that there's an actual part of development that you need to be aware of. So, for example, when we began, and I told you about the story of how the developers finish their product, they give it to the ops guys. The ops guys do everything with it. They found an error. They say, "I don't understand this. Come and take your things back. It's not working."
Yeah, it's not deploying.
So, and the problem that DevOps is solving is bringing those two things together. It means if you now want to do DevOps in this merged together field, you have to have an idea. You have to be able to troubleshoot errors. A developer gave you a code base, and then you found an error with it. You are not going back to that developer that, okay, this thing is breaking.
Yeah.
You want to have idea, except it is totally in the domain of development. That's when you can now say, okay, this thing is breaking.
Yeah.
But simple errors like, you don't even know how to build this particular application. You don't build means the application has been developed. Yeah. Building means maybe you're not merging all the code base in different files together into an artifact. So you are building it and then you don't even know how to build the app. So at least minimal knowledge of software development is required to actually thrive in DevOps.
Okay, thank you very much for that. That's a good insight. So before we move on to the next part, there's just one thing I want to ask, because you said having a knowledge of software development, that is the build part of it, is important. And you said, if I, as a DevOps personnel, how do you call yourself? Engineer. If I get a code base that is built and then I try to deploy it, which is put it on the server cloud, and it breaks, I should be able to work on it. So are you saying as a DevOps engineer, I can touch the build of a software developer? Because I'm trying as much to quite distinguish clearly between these two roles. So it's like, you give me something, it breaks, and then I'm like, oh, what has broken here? And then I'm like, oh, I can see it and I fix it. Or am I communicating with you to say, this has broken, one, or this is what has broken? So I'm just trying to
there are different areas where things can break. Things can break when you are building it. Things can break after you've built it. Things can break when you want to deploy it. So there are different domains. But the domain where things can break, where you want to consult the developer that built it, is probably you build something, it built successfully, you deploy it, it's not doing what it's supposed to do. You take it back as SAP. That's your domain. Or you are building it. So for example, there are stages, there are things that are involved in building a certain product, right? First thing you want to do is test it. If it's like there are always tests.
If it's working according to what I imagined it to be.
A standard software procedure. Even the developers should test it before they give it to the DevOps guys, right? So as part of the build things, first stuff that will come up in your build script is usually testing. If it breaks at that level, it's straight back to them. It hasn't even passed, so go back to them. Part of understanding where an error is coming from, or part of distinguishing it that, okay, this belongs to this part, development side, or this error belongs to this side. For example, it can break because in the pipeline, it could be that the script is requesting for a secret, where you as a developer, you put it there as the build engineer or DevOps engineer, you put somewhere, it's not getting access to it, it breaks. At that point, you can't contact the developer. That's your table.
It's okay. It depends on what
where
happened.
Yes.
So that matters if you go back to who built it, like this is yours to handle, or if it is for the DevOps engineer.
Yeah. Now imagine when something breaks. You didn't even know if it's on your table or not. Because sometimes you need to be able to understand errors. You live every day with errors. Like, okay, this error is here. This is probably what's wrong here. Imagine something belongs to you and you're calling someone else that this is
like,
you get, so
like, fix this for me. I totally get it, and I can see so it's a progression from building a software to testing it, to deploying it, maintaining it, and so on. So the DevOps is what happens after build.
So we just kind of summarize all those processes, and there are a lot more intricacies.
Definitely.
So we just kind of like summarize, like, okay, everything that happens after a software is built on a developer's laptop or series of developers' laptops. That's what DevOps do.
Thank you so much. I feel much refreshed, and this makes a lot of sense to me. So I am interested. Like, it sounds like something I would like to do. What do you think is the minimum hard skill for me to get? And I don't want to be a software developer first before doing this. I just want to understand more, go more into DevOps. So what do I need to learn, and what timeline do you think each of this will take me to learn?
So that is very hard to quantify, but of course, this question is also a very common question in the industry. Like, oh, people want to know this. People want to know how long it's going to take them. People want to know what to know, like, for them to get to the point where
beginning, like where I can even get my first job.
For your first job, exactly. So, and a lot of people have also created solutions to that effect. So there's a platform, roadmap.sh. It lists things you have to do. In fact, it breaks it down to like the barest minimum for things you have to do. Part of the things we do in DevOps is also automating. Like, we automate things because, for example, I don't want to always come here every day to say, okay, I want to test this, I want to test that. So we build automations too. So a lot more things. In fact, in DevOps, when you want to write automations and stuff, you write programs. You write programs. There are a lot of tools. You code. You might not just be coding an application, but you code to do things. You code to automate
make things happen.
Make things happen. You code to deploy infrastructure. For example, you want to deploy servers and stuff. You don't want to always go there and click around. So you code that as well. A lot of things
to make the process more streamlined.
Exactly, because for example, too, one of the things that there's a practice there's a tool within DevOps. They call is it tool now? There's a tool within DevOps. It's called Terraform. And what Terraform solves is it helps you to deploy infrastructure.
Okay.
Right? So the process of doing that, using Terraform to deploy infrastructure, is called infrastructure as code, IAC. You see it everywhere. And what IAC does is like, one of the problems it solves is that it removes the human error margin. So for example, as a human, you go somewhere every day, you click it and stuff. We are operating in an environment where we cannot afford to make mistakes. So to remove the human error, we put it into code. A code will work 100% the same 100% of the time. So far, nobody changed it, right? Nobody changes it, right? If nobody changed it, right, it will work the same way every time. So it removes that human error. So we do automation as well. So as you can see, the DevOps roadmap, it gives you step-by-step things you need to. You don't have to do everything on the roadmap, but you get to a point where you'll be very, 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 very satisfied with what you know. And you'll be very confident to even say, in fact, for example, you have been learning, and then let me see what they're even saying in what a typical job, DevOps job criteria requires, and then you go there. You definitely see some of the things that speaks to you, like, I know this thing, I've been doing it, I know this thing. Once you get to that point, you're ready for a job.
Okay, so thank you very much, and you recommended a roadmap, which I currently have. It looks really scary because it's like a lot of branches. So
don't scare your viewers.
No, I'm not scaring you. I'm speaking because I would expect they will also have this. So can I briefly go through this with you, so that anyone that is also looking to start doesn't just jump on the map and then they're just scrambling and going everywhere. So the first thing it says here is I should learn a programming language.
Thank you very much. You see that the first thing they mentioned is learn a programming language. See, let me try to shed light on programming language for someone that has never learned a programming language. Learning a programming language is not a death sentence. It is not. They are not saying go and learn a programming language because they want to punish you. This is why it is important. You need to understand that someone that knows how to code is not the same person that doesn't know how to code. I will explain. When you want to learn how to code, you want to know how to speak to computer in a language that computer understand. That is the very beginning, because everything you'll be going from there on is speaking to computer. And we live in a age where computers have taken over our world. Our phones, our life is literally intertwined with technology these days. So the very first thing you want to be able to do is speak to computer. How? By learning the language of computer. The language of computer is what programming language means. For example, programming language literally means you want to be able to speak to computer. Before you are able to speak to computer, there are some things that need to change in the way you see things. I did not even know that roadmap.sh, like, this is the first criteria that they
learn
a programming language.
They gave us a list of programming languages. So could you just say in like one word which programming language you would recommend?
Learn Python.
They recommended by like giving it the
it was what they recommend. What they recommend.
Personal recommendation or opinion. So
it's Python or Go.
Thank you. The second thing here is to learn an operating system. And here they gave a list. They gave Windows, Unix, and Linux. Which should I go for?
Go for Linux.
Then it leads us to learning a terminal knowledge. They said Vim, Nano, Emacs. Okay, I think this is just like.
So when you learn an operating system, you learn terminal. They usually go hand in hand. Because you would terminal knowledge is severely important. It's like the pen. It's like the pen you will use to write. In the DevOps field.
Okay, thank you. And it says to learn a container, Docker, LXC, and I think they're recommending
Docker,
Docker.
yes.
Okay, then there's I think this is virtual hosting, GitHub, GitLab, and Bitbucket,
Yeah.
GitHub.
GitHub,
It's
yeah.
quite popular.
Yes.
Yeah, and there are so many things as well. Learn cloud providers, and they are recommending AWS or Azure or Google Cloud. And then there's serverless. There is, oh my
A
god,
lot of things. A very good sign of maturity in learning is knowing that I know well enough to stop and start looking for job.
Yeah.
I think I have the, I think I exhibited that when I was trying to switch from development to DevOps. I mean, I've not said that. You need to, like I said earlier, I think I mentioned it earlier, like you need to be able to weigh yourself based on what you see on a typical job application.
Okay.
Right?
Fair.
See what you see on a typical job application. When you go through them, sometimes you don't have to know everything.
Yeah.
But the core one, like for example, the containerization thing, everyone
Okay.
would expect you to know containerization is one of the means by which we deploy, we package applications, right? But all of that, I would say, if someone is an absolute beginner, it is not. I'm not blind to the struggle of a typical beginner. It is very fuzzy. It is not clear. The path is not clear. You don't even know what you're doing. You don't even know if you're doing it right. So I'm not very blind to that to that struggle, and that is why I always suggest that if you are not like very young, like maybe you're 10 years old to 15 years old, right? To be honest, I always just tell people that get a mentor or go to a boot camp that is offering this knowledge.
Okay.
It means that everybody in that vicinity, in that community, might even be like an online stuff.
Okay.
Everybody there are pursuing the same goal. You can never underestimate being in that kind of community because I'm pursuing this, you're pursuing this, everybody's pursuing this. That is your call for that moment. They'll give you a timeline like 1 year, 6 months, however long it is. By the time you will spend this long with us, you will be able to call yourself a DevOps engineer.
Good.
Right? So all the things to learn is their burden, is not your burden. Your own is to know it.
Sure.
Going to those schools does not mean you will know it automatically. I need to make that clear. Going to those schools does not mean you know it. You have to bring yourself to know. You can spend that 1 year, 6 months, or 1 year, however long it is, and still not know it at the end of the day. It's the same result as someone that went to university that didn't pass.
Okay.
Because there are people that didn't pass, right? So you still have to put yourself through those programs and know it. But the burden of knowing what to learn is no more on you, and it makes your journey easy. You're just focusing on knowing what they provide.
Well, thank you very much. And I have also heard that there are like free, because I'm just trying to get the job. I don't have money. So that there are free resources that are available, like YouTube, like open source, maybe like Udemy, like Udacity, like Coursera. Do you feel these resources are useful?
To be honest, yes.
Okay.
Yes. The there's a free platform that I used to when I wanted to start learning terminal.
Okay.
There was a free platform that I used that all the basic things that I need to learn about terminal, I learned it on that platform. I mean, I went ahead and bought another course to learn Linux very well and all that. But
which
Udemy,
course?
I just use Udemy, like Linux for beginners.
Linux
for beginners. Just type Linux for beginners on YouTube or on Udemy. You see a lot of free resources.
As you advance, you can start investing in the paid version if you have the money.
To be honest, the free versions are sometimes enough. Like they don't do more. The only thing when you buy a paid course is that it is more intentional. This person is selling it, so he puts its art to it, like. But it doesn't mean that the basic knowledge you will get from a free resource
it's not enough.
It's not enough to get things done.
Okay.
paid course might just be very in-depth because the person is trying to justify why you are paying for this and do a lot more shalaye.
Yeah. I think I would personally recommend going for the free resources because first, it helps you see if you want to truly pursue DevOps. I have paid for a resource before, and trust me, that's not the career I am currently in. So that's why I am giving the free resource advice. But when you are very sure that DevOps is what you want to do, then definitely investing in yourself is the best investment. Thank you very much. So, do you think I need to go to the university to become a DevOps engineer? I know you talked about the bootcamp, but is this something that is recognized that I could stand tall and say, oh, I went to a bootcamp and I am knowledgeable and I am a DevOps engineer?
There are thousands of people out there that didn't go to university and they are engineers, big engineers in big tech companies today, right? And being an engineer means you can be anything. You can be DevOps, you can be Cloud Ops, you can be SRE, anything really. Going to a university is not a... I'm not saying you shouldn't go to a university.
If you
definitely
can.
Go to a university. I had my master's in computer science, so I went to university. I can't advise against that, right? But I'm just saying that, in fact, what you get, if your goal is to become a DevOps engineer, no university is saying, come and get a degree in DevOps engineering. No. A university would train you to become computer savvy, to become computer aware, and go very, 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 very in-depth into what makes up a computer.
Yeah.
But a university wouldn't say, come, let's define your career for you.